All right, looks like we are live. So, hey everyone.
Hey there.
Hey.
Today I'm with Michał and Szymon, and we will talk about something new, but let's wait for more people to join, and we'll start with the announcement.
What announcement?
So yeah, maybe we can
Very last minute.
Sorry. Yeah, we just released this on Twitter, so you might.
Yeah, so this is like a live stream of announcing a new thing that we hope is gonna be important addition to the React Native ecosystem. And so how long would you like to wait for people, Oskar?
Just like 2-3 minutes. I don't know. We can talk about the weather or anything.
Yeah,
It's
so
pretty
people,
good
you can
today.
grab your coffees, set up your AirPods on a walk or whatever. I hope you're listening or watching this in some nice environments, or you're in front of your laptop or other Mac, and you would like to see what we're building.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we are working for this release for over a few months already. I don't know what's
Yeah,
date
it's been a while actually.
Yeah, we were teasing that for a while also. Probably some of you spotted some demos of the project without a name, of the new thing that we're working on.
So it's like a few months of work in private, now seeing the daylight for the first time. And we have like two main contributors here, because I didn't work on this, but I will ask questions. So yeah, I think we can start. So I will share the screen. Okay, so here's the beautiful landing page. So yeah, tell us what React Native Enterprise Framework is.
Yeah, or you would like to maybe you would like to go through the website and tell me, and hopefully you will understand what's going on. But we can go like section by section, no worries.
Okay.
So just to be clear, today Callstack is announcing a new framework for React Native. This means that from this day there are two frameworks in React Native space, and that you'll have some diversity around what's there, what's possible. It's like the announcement is about that we're actually building this, and it's not a ready open source thing to use just yet, because we want to solve some edge cases and make sure this works with our biggest clients out there, where we're testing this approach, and we wanted to get some validation also whether anyone in the community thinks this is something that they need. So the idea that we're building on top of is, and we're not sharing anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Clicking some buttons.
So the idea is to solve some actual real challenges that we're seeing in our enterprise clients. So this means teams that are from 10 to a couple of hundreds of engineers. They usually have some infrastructure team. They have a plethora of their own cloud services that they subscribe to. They have their own infrastructure, and they're not very easy at, or it's not really simple to add new services to their existing stack. We were often blocked with adding sometimes even some open source library for a couple of months, just to get some permission from legal, and this is especially tricky for some companies regarding like extra vendors that they don't have any relationship built yet. So this is one thing. Another thing that we are seeing is that these companies or the React Native projects that they're developing, they're rebuilding the same application with maybe slightly modified JavaScript over and over again. And as much as, for example, Android is pretty heavily cached, at least on the local environment, and you can configure it in your CI to run a bit faster. On iOS side, it's a bit more tricky. So we were either implementing some smarter caching mechanism or packaging React Native to a separate artifact. There are like, very many different solutions to the same project and to the same problem that we see, and most of them are not really reliable. So yeah.
Maybe we can walk people through what's actually happening on this video, because it's
okay.
it's like
Yeah,
the main feature.
so let's wait for the app to install on the phone. So we can see there is a simulator that doesn't have an app installed. We are running a new command called rnef run iOS with configuration debug. It's gonna run a iOS app for us. So you can see it's checking for some local cached builds. It didn't find one, so it's actually checking on GitHub because it's configured for this project. And now we're downloading a ready-to-use build that has a particular hash associated with its native version. Then we're finding existing simulators or opening a new one or a new device if that's what you passed to the command. Mm-hmm. And that's it. In a couple of seconds, you have a working dev version, like debug version of your application without building anything, because someone else built that for you in the cloud already. And this is a case for like 90-something% of projects out there. They're already built stuff in cloud. And if they don't, it's because it's too expensive to build on every pull request or every commit. So this is what you're seeing. This is for iOS, but it works in the same way for Android, and it will work the same way for any other platform out there. Currently, we're supporting iOS and Android, but they're supported in the form of so-called platform plugins. So we are making sure that we don't have this notion of like blessed platforms and some extra out of tree platform. Mm-hmm. In our experience, like we're very much proponents of the React's many platform vision. So we want to make sure that we're building this new tool, and all the platforms as first-class citizens in
That's great.
Yeah.
So this is a replacement for like React Native run iOS. You just change it to RNF and you get all the benefits of like pre-built in the GitHub Actions. So are those parameters also like backward compatible? So you only change the command, or
in most of the places it's compatible. If you're we actually have a compatibility layer that will guide you. For example, in the current community CLI, there's no configuration flag. There is a mode that we added some time ago, and we figured that it's not really a good abstraction for even for only iOS and Android, and not to mention other platforms. So when you will run -iOS or run :iOS with mode debug, will let you know that you're using deprecated or outdated name of the command, and you're using some outdated flags, and we will give you exact command to copy paste to your terminal. And this flow is for downloading the remote builds. Of course, you can opt out of that and just build stuff locally the same way as you would do in the community CLI.
So basically, with the new CLI that you are seeing here, this new UI, it's like a CLI for React Native apps. We've written that from scratch, but I think like we were maintaining React Native community CLI, React Native CLI for over 5 years. We migrated that from React Native core when this project started, and then under React Native community organization, we started maintaining that, contributing, adding new features, listening to the community, and we've got it all our know-how, and we've started a new thing because we didn't really have time for React Native community CLI. It was contributed by a bunch of people. Didn't have one vision for that, but with new project, with new CLI, we sat down with all the contributors from our side. We wrote all our pros and cons of the current CLI, what we would like to improve, and yeah, that's the result of our work, and you can see it over on the screen.
Yeah. By the way, I have to appreciate how beautiful the output is. It's like really clean when you can see all of these steps and the loading screen, the loading indicators. It's great.
So shout out to Jakub Romańczyk, who is maintaining and developing the repack, which recently celebrated its version 5, and he introduced us to this Rust tooling that's associated with the with Eris Pack, Eris Build, and all those tools. So we were taking some inspiration for the UI from that. And if you're interested in this, what's this library that's that we're using for messaging and for prompting? This is Clack prompts, and we're supporting the maintainer. He especially for us unblocked some of the revived this project, which we are very thankful. And I think this shows this collaborative and supportive spirit in the open source space, where we can reach out to open source maintainers, we can fund them, and they have the freedom to keep maintaining the project, which we're just very thankful. So we didn't really need to fork it.
That's great.
Yeah, so we can go a bit lower. So we're because this is a announcement of the framework and that we're building it. We would really like you to join the wait list, and we will use that list to keep you updated on the current development, on what's possible, on the things that we were not able to put on that quick landing page. And if you haven't done it, please sign up for more updates, and you'll also be the first to know
You can do it here.
When this project is going to be open source, so you can use it, or you can reach out to us as well through a other form or through a conversation that we will be reply to in that email. So we may think about getting you on some early access train, although this is this is definitely not scalable. So we want to open source those libraries as soon as possible, so we don't need to fiddle with all the private packages and permissions and so on and so forth. There's like another tricky and painful thing in the enterprise environments. So
exactly, our DMs are open, and we can't wait for your feedback.
So we wanted to make sure that we're building on some proper foundations, and first and foremost, we're building for major enterprise applications. We are like, our typical user is someone from a infrastructure team on the bigger project that serves those feature React Native developers or web developers that are joining React Native, and they're making sure that they have as easy time contributing to the project as possible. So that's why we design the framework around being modular. So you can declare your preferred platforms. You can add your plugins or use some predefined ones. Like, for example, there is a plugin for a bundler, and we're supporting Metro and Repack as a bundler currently. Another thing is that we are heavily on self-hosting stuff, so you will be deploying on your own existing infrastructure. Currently, we're integrating with GitHub Actions. In the future, we will update it with some other CI providers, and also other remote cache providers like S3 or R2 or stuff like this. We'll come to that when we'll go to our features to come, which is basically our roadmap for the upcoming months. And the last thing that's especially important for companies that have their existing native applications and they want to either experiment with React Native or just want to, or they just know that they want to adopt React Native because that's the way to go. For many companies, that's a sane decision to make for a lot of businesses out there. And we wanted to make sure that this integration is as easy as possible. So with our framework, we will integrate our custom Brownfield approach, which revolves around packaging your whole React Native app as a framework, as a XC framework on iOS, or some AAR, some bigger AAR on Android. So you can just import it from SPM or from Maven Central, and you don't need to worry about all the JavaScript tooling, all the Metro servers, and CocoaPods as a an
definitely.
iOS engineer, because believe it or not, this is like one of the biggest blockers for adopting React Native for in existing projects. So they're usually like projects that have multiple years. They figure out how to adopt Swift instead of Objective-C, and they're using Swift PM as their package management solution. Then they use Carthage, and then there is CocoaPods, which is actually scheduled for deprecation in the or in the maintenance mode. I think this is the term that they're using. So, for example, React Native is the core project is looking for some packaging solutions that are different than CocoaPods. Oskar can give you some early sneak peeks that he's following in the code base. Would you like to derail this conversation a bit?
Yeah, sure. Like, I think it's now mostly settled, but that it will be Swift PM. That will be moving forward with, but this may change. But like shipping React Native as an XC framework makes it like build to agnostic. So even though React Native will be using Swift PM or anything else, when you build it as a framework, then you can integrate into the native app just like a binary. So it's like independent from whatever the build tool is used to ship React Native. So this is like a huge win, because like together with some of the other work we are planning to do on the Brownfield support, like integrating the RNF React Native Enterprise Framework into your native app will be like just a few lines of code of the native integration code. So from what you have to do today, like at CocoaPods, even though if you use Swift PM, it will be like so much easier, and yeah, you'll be able to do it in days, not weeks.
Yeah, ideally, or maybe even hours.
Yeah,
and that's like what's important to us is that it's gonna be like very much integrated into and supported with our framework. So this whole brownfield idea is a core idea behind the framework. So if we wanted to put this in some other terms, we're building around easy to adopt in brownfield environments. We're building this for out-of-tree platforms and for existing projects that have very complex setup in that they accumulated over the years, and it's hard for them to migrate to some good alternatives for them, such as Expo, for example, which is great for many scenarios, for new projects. Definitely, they have some even cool integrations with Bolt that new, so you can quickly vibe code your application. Oskar, you have some experience with that, don't you?
Yeah, we've been doing this on the last live stream last week, and yeah, the conclusion was that you should use Cursor, because the amount of tokens that Bolt used, it was around like 1 million tokens, and I still had some issues with the app, but it's like for a quick sketch of the app, it's working great. But if you want to build on an existing app, it's better to use something that's local. Maybe if Bolt does local things, then yeah, but Expo integration with Bolt is certainly like feels magical, that you can save on the website and it refreshes, but it's mostly for new projects.
Yeah. I hope we'll be able to get to similar experience at some point. But Expo is providing a really high bar, and we're not really targeting the same user base as we believe. So yeah, this is first and foremost big enterprise projects that have some history. This is most of our clients that we have today.
So we've got a question on chat. I will show it on screen. So it's from Mo. How does your framework improve upon existing solutions like Expo?
Yeah. So how does it improve? I wouldn't like to directly compare this because it's a it's a different set of trade-offs that we're making compared to Expo. What we're where we found some roadblocks for adopting Expo in our existing projects, for example, is when there were issues integrating like third-party clouds, where engineering team would need to get some legal advice or just legal support, and for many teams in large companies, this is just a blocker, and it's not a fault of Expo. It's fault of how big organizations are often set up, and there's not much that they can do about it other than use build on the existing tooling and existing clouds that they have today. So this is one angle. So we just wanted to make it as simple to adopt this solution for the community CLI projects, not for Expo projects. Like you probably shouldn't migrate Expo to our framework. We didn't build around this idea, so we should probably not try it. We built it around adopting from the community CLI projects because if we would scroll a bit up, as the React team tells you, if you're not using a framework, you're building one yourself, and that's very much true. This is what we're observing. There are hundreds or more companies that are solving the same problems in very different means. We want to put that solution burden into an open source package, and that's hopefully easy to use and adopt in those companies that for whatever reason cannot adopt Expo.
And also, like, a very important thing is Brownfield. So Expo is like at least not officially supporting Brownfield. And so if you have like a build to agnostic way of integrating your React Native into your native app, that's fast and easy to set up. This is definitely something to consider. And if you want to do Brownfield, you are probably not using Expo. So that's also like a different user base that we are targeting here.
Also, you don't need to be a Brownfield project to adopt this framework. It's like it's a part of our solution. They're our first class citizens for the framework. So we can maybe take you, before we answer the next questions around whether we build on top of Expo or we'll be able to use config plugins. We'll get there.
Let's try to get to the bottom of this page.
Yeah.
Before the live stream ends.
Yeah, exactly. So how we are adopting this this framework today for our existing clients, and how will you be able to do it in the upcoming future once we open source it? So first, we migrate from the community CLI. This is basically 5-minute job, changing few. Applying few patches to your Android and iOS configs, adding a new file, RNF config.js, adding some packages to package.json. That's basically our framework, and removing the community CLI because it's no longer necessary. And that's optional, but very much recommended. Adding our actions to your GitHub workflows.
Yeah,
so-
and I think that one of the pros of migration or incremental migration is that you can migrate with different phases. So when we are working on implementing the framework to one of our clients, we first implemented as just CLI, as just a CLI for local builds. So the workflows stayed the same, but just the UI and improvement on local CLI change. And then we added a remote build, which is one of the most awesome features that we have. So like building on CI, storing artifacts, and then pulling them when we can. So yeah, you can migrate in phases when you have capacity, whenever you can.
Yeah, so that would be the step 2, which is adding a new job like build device or build simulator that's using our like dedicated actions that we set up for you. You won't find those framework actions, remote build, V1 just yet. Currently, we're this is the part that we're not open sourcing yet, but it will be open source. It will be easy to use for existing project. So hopefully it's gonna be as simple as adding a new job or new workflow with some jobs for producing builds for debug for developers. And producing signed builds for end-to-end testers as well, so they can have this build reuse as well. Another like the third thing is pushing your changes and observing how your cloud reacts to it. So once your build is done, it's never going to be built again unless the artifact is removed from GitHub action. So you see here on this picture that building a release and debug versions of Android takes 20 seconds. And this is mostly due to the retrieving the cache of NPM or Yarn or whatever is running on your CI. So first build is gonna take whatever it takes. Like usually what we observe is it's between 10 to 40 minutes, sometimes even more, and then the subsequent builds are going to be instant. And
Nice.
the fourth thing is where the magic happens, and this is the integration between the cloud and the CLI. So CLI is very much aware of what remote cache provider you're using. It will know that it's GitHub in this case. It will download it from the artifacts, and once it's done, it will launch it on your device. So you never ever have to build your app locally. It may actually be the case if the build is there somewhere in your artifacts. It's just wasted resource, wasted time for you to build that locally once again. we'll retrieve that for you, and we'll also cache that for you locally in our hidden cache folder in your project, so you can retrieve this build even faster next time. And what's best that apart from like time savings, that okay, now you'll be able to get from 25 minutes to 50 seconds or whatever with your builds. This is a nice part. But personally, I believe the nicest part is that your project will be able to do things that it never ever had the opportunity to do. So, for example, we see that many enterprise clients are not running end-to-end tests on every pull request. They're not even running their end-to-end tests on every merge to main. The most common is like running those nightly or 2 times a day or whatever, because it's very expensive to build end-to-end tests and to run them. So in our experience, the expensive part is building your app for end-to-end tests from scratch. And once you have your signed build for validation or for release, whatever like variant or configuration you're using in your testing environment, once that's done, it can be reused across the subsequent runs of your end-to-end tests. So this will unlock running end-to-end tests on every commit, for example, and that's gonna take a few minutes instead of like hour or so. Or like in the case I was talking about, it would be just impossible because it would burn too much credits on your CI. So I think this is a good time to remind you that you can join the waitlist for this project to learn more and get some early updates. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think you actually talked about like how does it work that you can now, reuse the builds, if you want to share it, or is it a secret?
I definitely want to share it, and I want to give a huge shout out to Kudo from Expo team and an Expo themselves for building the fingerprint package. There is this small package called Expo Fingerprint that Expo developed to have reliable updates for your over-the-air updates. So particular JavaScript will only target the native builds that are connected with or compatible with that build. And what we realized is we could use the same mechanism to have a way more reliable caching on the server, because the hash produced locally and produced on the CI environment, and in most of the cases is going to be the same. Actually, in all the cases, it should be the same, unless you have some garbage in your existing project that you can get rid of with one git command. So we're basically leveraging Expo Fingerprint to calculate a native representation of our application in a single hash, and this hash is what you're seeing in the name of the artifact. Here on the fourth step. So this hash is going to be the same on CI, and it's going to be the same on your device. And once those two environments match with the same hash, you'll be able to the CLI will be able to download the build from cloud, because there is a certainty that this is a correct build for you to run. So this is what powers our reusable builds. We are very, very thankful to Expo for open sourcing this package, and we are able to use it in some maybe weird, maybe unexpected use cases, but I don't believe it wasn't. It will be very much unexpected. I think there is a great service from Expo called EAS Workflows that's also reusing, has some capability to reuse some builds on their own CI, so they can provide you with so they can quickly provide you with the link to your latest application for testing.
Okay. So then also so what happens with the JavaScript bundle? Because like if it changes.
Yeah. So this is where we need to differentiate between debug builds for developers and like release builds for testers. So I'll start with debug builds. If you scroll up to the video, you will notice that when the app opens, it will show you this small indication that Metro server is running and loading your bundle. That's because in a different window I have a Metro server opened, and you can see it right now. And because of that, like when you're building an APK or that app, it will not have a JavaScript or Hermes bytecode bundle inside when it's in debug mode. It will have a open connection to the dev server that bundlers such as Metro or Repack use to serve you the bundle from local file system. So when we are building for developers, this is easy part. We can build it once and reuse it as long as there are no changes to the native side of our application. Things get tricky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For a while, let me give a real world scenario why we did in this way. So, for example, me, Oskar, and Michał are working on the app, and Oskar created a branch which adds a I don't know, React Native reanimated dependency, and his branch is adding like really cool animations. And I'm working on a branch with, for example, React Native page review and other dependencies, and I'm reviewing his PR, and I need to locally pull it. So I'm checking his branch, and I'm running the run IS command, and then the hash is checked, and my hash actually matched the one on the remote on the CI, and I'm now downloading other build, and then when I'm starting, the build is downloaded, and then I need to start a packager, and the native build we've reanimated, so from Oskar's branch is being installed on my simulator, and the JavaScript bundle with reanimated is being served by a local packager.
Yeah, which is great, and once you try it, it's like a bit of magical, because if things are working, it just works, and the whole feeling of not having to fiddle with all the caches, build systems, CocoaPods installations, etc. You can do it, but if you don't have to, you'll quickly realize that that's not the way to go. The way to go in most cases is to just fetch the latest build and be done with that. And in fact, this is something that we've seen companies like Shopify, for example, or Coinbase are already building with a very decent developer experience. But this is very much tied to their infrastructure and their choices. That's why we wanted to make it more generic, so that anyone out there hopefully can adopt it at some point.
Okay, but you still didn't tell me like what happens in the release mode, because Szymon explained us what happens in development mode. But this is easy. Yeah, you just reload Metro and it bundles the app again. But in release mode, you package the app with a JavaScript bundle, and it's cached with this bundle. So how can we reuse the build?
Yeah, so first thing that we need to solve is actually building a signed application in the cloud. So this means that you will need to provide certain secrets to your CI environments that will allow us to sign the application either on iOS or Android. On Android, this is probably not necessary because most of the cases companies are testing their test or validation builds with some debug stores, because this is for testing and usually behind a VPN or something. But for iOS, if you want to test on a device, you will need a certificate and provisioning profile. So our GitHub action is prepared for handling that, so you'll be able to provide information about your provisioning profile, your certificate, and whatever else is needed to build and archive the application. That's one thing, and that's the prerequisite to what Oskar was saying, because if we build once a release artifact that has a JavaScript or Hermes bundle inside, then the next time there are JavaScript changes, we would reuse some old build, and the QA tester would always have to. Would always have access to a stale version of the thing that they want to test. So what we need to do is we need to re-sign the application, and there are tools for that available on both on iOS and on Android. So we're adding a few extra commands to our CLI if you would like to try it locally. But they're intended to be done on the CI environment, and on our CI jobs, we will run this re-signing process that will basically unpack your application, build your JavaScript bundle once again, build it with Hermes as well, if you configure it, unless you configure it in someone else, because not everyone out there is using Hermes, and then package it all together, and using the same certificates information to sign this application once again. And then we will provide you a link to that build that's connected with for example, particular pull request that you're working on. And once that's done, we'll be able to produce a updated version of your release bundle on the main branch, for example. So this is a scenario that we're still figuring out a good experience about. So currently, Currently, we are leveraging this pull request information, and I guess we can expand that with some other capabilities, because the same flow and the same process will be necessary to produce builds that are necessary for end-to-end tests, so they can be actually reused.
Okay. Thank you for explaining me the magic behind this. So yeah, I think this will be like a real speed up for some of the projects, since I've been working on one project before where testers had to test each branch, like each critical branch that fixed some like a critical issue, and it was taking 2 hours to build the branch before the tester could even download the build. So like having 20 seconds would make it so that I can create a fix and then it can be tested like a few minutes later, not few hours. So this would be life-changing for that project. So let's focus on some other features and what's also on the roadmap. So we don't spend the whole live stream talking about the builds.
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
So to recap, we have a brand new CLI. We have reusable cloud builds for developers and for QA testers, and we have a Brownfield integration that will allow you to import React Native as a basically single framework through SPM or Maven Central on Android. And for things that we have on our roadmap, I'll start with micro frontends. So we already have a plugin to use Repack as a bundler, and as some of you may know, Repack is a build tool for React Native applications to allow you bundle your JavaScript using RSPack or Webpack with the access to the whole Webpack ecosystem. And this means you, for example, have access to module federation, which is like a de facto way or a gold standard of building micro frontends on the web. With Repack, it's possible to build mobile micro frontends, and we want to make this experience as seamless as possible. That's why we're collaborating with the Repack team, which Szymon is a part of from very recently. And this is the first thing I would like to call out. Another is adding more platforms to the mix. Currently, we have iOS and Android. We have some early support for Vision OS. We want to expand to Apple TV, to Android TV, and other TV platforms, to Mac OS and Windows. Hopefully, with the support from Tommy and Sad and others from Microsoft. And
just one thing to add here is that the base of the CLI is designed in a way that we adding new platforms will be seamless. The amount of the helpers that we can reuse across new platforms is very big. So adding new platform won't be another rewrite of the CLI or something like this.
And it should be easy for the platform maintainers actually to integrate. Over-the-air updates, it's something that surprisingly or unsurprisingly many companies are reaching out to us to integrate. So we'll make a story around that with integrated turbo module, with a server that you'll be able to Docker compose or whatever on your own infra, and with the UI, so you can have a and this is the interesting bit. We want the solution to have a good story around rolling out your over-the-air updates gradually, either to a percentage of your user base or to users based on their geographic location, or based on some predefined list or qualities or stuff like that, plus rollbacks. Next on the mix is continuous native generation. So this is directly answering the question of Ahmed somewhere on YouTube. He asks whether it builds on top of Expo, as we can still use config plugins in CNG. You can use config plugins. We tested that because we're integrating with React Native, and Expo is very well very good at doing that. So you can still use your Expo modules. You can use config plugins. What we prototype is that we can use the same system to power our own continuous native generation, and we will use that somewhere in the future. So this is on the roadmap currently. The upgrade experience, which is another question from Ahmed, is basically use upgrade helper, which is not super great. On the other hand, the core team is doing so much quality work in terms of making sure that the upgrades and changes to the default templates are minimal, that those manual upgrades are not very time consuming. What's actual problem for bigger companies is like making sure the current version of React Native is compatible with existing libraries. So for that, we plan to integrate align depths from our next kit. This is Microsoft's project that does a really good job at solving this particular problem. Or you can use Expo modules and Expo SDK, basically their libraries to make sure that you have the compatibility across the board for certain versions of React Native. Another one on the mix is support for React Server components. With like one of nice perks of having a framework and being in control of that is that we can control the navigation library, we can control the bundler, and these are all the necessary bits to provide you with good experience around React Server components. So we will build that as well. We will use React Navigation as our recommended library, and we'll likely use Repack as it already has a good story because of Webpack ecosystem integration with React Server components. This is something that Szymon actually prototyped a few months back already. And the last thing that we wanted to share is because currently we integrate with GitHub Actions as our CI and remote cache provider, and not all enterprises are using GitHub Actions. We want to integrate with other cloud providers out there like Circle CI, GitLab, and third-party storage like S3 or R2 from Cloudflare. So you can store your artifacts whatever you like, and that our CLI will be still able to retrieve those builds from those specific locations. And this is, of course, not everything. We have a lot more on our roadmap, such as supporting Shopify's Top Hat, which is their tool that solves similar problems that our infrastructure solves, and we would like to treat Top Hat as a extra, like another front end to the to the whole system. So you could not use the CLI to download the builds, but you could use a small Mac application to just drag and drop it on your device. And I think that's it in terms of the landing page. We are at the very bottom. So once again, I encourage you to hit that join the waitlist button and get those early updates. Do we have some extra questions that we haven't answered?
Yeah. So what about web? Does it support web?
Yeah. So currently we don't have a direct support for the web. It's on our roadmap as well as part of the out of tree platform feature track. We would love to ideally for bigger frameworks, such as like web frameworks such as Remix or Next.js, to be able to reuse our infrastructure and build on that to provide their users with some good mobile experience when they're coming from the web, and if you're going the other way around, coming from native to the web, you can still use React Native Web or React Strict DOM with this setup. I think you won't be able to use the use DOM components from Expo just yet, but I hope that Szymon, together with Jacob, will integrate that into Repack at some point, because this is a really good idea, and we would love to have it supported at some point.
Yeah, so I think last question from me. So when open source?
Yeah, soon. We want to release it as soon as possible, ideally in the next couple of weeks, but we'll see about that. We want it to be polished enough to be usable and easily adoptable at your company, but not over polished. So we will still need to find a good trade-off and sign up to the waitlist and watch us on Twitter or X or Blue Sky to be first to know when we're open sourcing this thing.
Thank you. Right. So do you guys want to add anything on top of what we already talked about, or can we? I
think there is like one last question from someone I cannot pronounce. I'm sorry. I guess they're from Vietnam or somewhere there in Southeast Asia. Why we need a new framework, improve current CLI version and his library. So we would love to do that. Actually, we were improving and maintaining the current community CLI, but while doing so, we hit a lot of blockers because it's so widely adopted that it prevented us from introducing some breaking changes to the template, for example, or to some core ideas behind the whole tool. That it would be a very disruptive change for the whole ecosystem. That was one of the reasons why we decided to, put our time into creating a new framework, new thing that's specifically built around those enterprise use cases that we were talking about for the last hour. The community CLI has to be, as robust for generic use case as possible, and we wouldn't like to break it.
So what's coming for React Native community CLI? It's still going to be maintained, right?
Yeah, we're still maintaining it. Both me and Szymon are on the maintenance team. So it's still gonna be out there. But if you watch this space closely, you'll notice that there's more and more parts of the community CLI that are ending up in the core repository, like the commands for bundling, for example, or from running at the dev server or parts of dev server, so that there's gonna be a smaller area of impact for the community CLI, and that's intended because it should be as bare bones and simple as possible. That it should allow you to open a React Native bare project from a bare template, and not much else. The rest is left for frameworks such as Expo or our framework for enterprise that we'll still figuring out a good name for to implement.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also, I think I saw a deprecation notice for like calling the CLI manually. So this will be like up to frameworks now, and that's also another reason why you might want to have a framework.
I think so. So yeah. So the deprecation notice is for calling the run iOS or run Android through the React Native package. So now you'll have to do it through this lengthy React Native community /CLI package, or through Expo if you're adopting Expo CLI.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. All right, so I think we are out of questions. We answered literally everything. So yeah, thanks for joining me, to Michał and Szymon.
Yeah, thank you, Oskar, for hosting us.
You're welcome. So yeah, I guess I'll see you next week on another live stream. Thank you.
Yeah, hope so. Bye, and have a great day or evening, whatever you are, and
sign up for the waiting list.
Yeah, sign up and wait for more updates from us. Bye.
See you.
Bye.